and to help one another. And in the spirit of love, covenant, and friendship, I invite you to greet one another. Thank you. Yay! Great.
Greetings.
Yeah.
My sweet friend.
Thank you. Good to have you part of this.
Good to be had.
Make sure we have. Good. Oh, goodness. Fabian Chapek, who we will be talking about today. Thank you.
Good morning. The thought of flower communion always makes me smile. Not because of the beauty or the fragrance of the flowers, but because of the fond memories of my parents, Mommy and Daddy, that it brings up in me. My mom loved roses. Some of you know this. In fact, I have the Florence Wilson Memorial Rose Garden in my backyard. Mom's whole front yard was filled with roses. She'd ask Dad to mow the lawn around the roses, and without fail and without malice, he would always mow at least one of them down. Oh, sweet memories. In his defense, he was colorblind and couldn't tell brown from green. I don't know why she kept asking him to do that, but whatever. But seriously, the real spirit of my mom was in her actions before my folks ever even owned a home. Many of you have heard me talk about my childhood and the fact that I was raised in the projects, federal housing, trailers, motels, cheap rentals, till I was 11 years old. And the folks were finally able to buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home once the family shrunk to only 4 kids. Prior to that, we hadn't lived in one place for more than 3 months at a time. The thing was, though, that wherever we lived, Mom just quietly planted flower bulbs, and seeds. Tulips, daffodils, pansies, hyacinths, dahlias, and ranunculus, which her sister called Florence's ridiculous flowers. She knew the chances were that she'd never see them break ground and become flowers, but she believed in paying it forward before it was a thing. And she believed in leaving things better than she found them. She always scrubbed a place clean before she left and planted a little flower garden for the next family to enjoy. She planted hope, and Nelson Mandela said, "Hope brings us one step closer to joy." And so we light this chalice with a smile for tender memories and hope for a beautiful future for us all. And may it be so.
Well, I see we have some children of many different ages. So I invite you, if you feel like coming forward, to come on up and join me. I have a story to tell you. I think I'm going to sit over here. So if you want to come join me, come sit with me. Awesome. Good to see you. Anybody else want to come? By the way, we have coloring pages today. Did you get one? Oh, good. And they're not just for children of children's ages, but the children in each and every one of us, if you feel like coloring. So I invite you to grab some crayons and a coloring sheet if you want one. Okay. So, what's your favorite color? What? Blue? Blue, okay. Anybody else's favorite color? You like blue? Or you like blue too? Okay. Anybody else? Purple? Nice, okay. Good. If you could be a flower, everyone, what flower would you be? I don't know if you heard Mim's answer, but it was so classic. She said artificial. Oh my gosh, that was hilarious. Do you have a thought of what flower you would be? A rose? Oh, beautiful. We've got some roses up here. Did you see those? Yeah. So this guy named Reverend Norbert Fabian Čapek, he was from the Czechoslovakia. We call it Czechia now, or the Czech Republic, but it was called Czechoslovakia back in the 1920s. And he was a minister. And he thought and thought as he walked around, but he didn't have any ideas about how to share the feeling that these beautiful flowers gave him. And so he came to a small child in his congregation who smiled at him and held out a flower for him to take. And Reverend Norbert smiled back, and with a happy heart, he realized in that moment how to spread this warm feeling with his church members. And it was in the spring of 1923, so that was 100 years ago, exactly 100 years ago. The spring of 1923, when there were flowers growing everywhere in Prague, in Czechoslovakia, in Prague, in the parks and along the Vltava River, even in the trash and the rubble that was still left over from World War I. So Reverend Norbert spread the word to his congregation for everyone to bring a flower. And everyone did show up on Sunday with a flower. And there were stems of white daisy-like chamomile and yellow, many-petaled leopard's bane. Any leopard's bane up here today? I don't know. The bright pink rockets of cyclamens and plump yellow clusters of primroses and fuzzy pink spires of hens and chicks. And we could do quite a description right here. Do you want to point out some flowers that you like over here? You want to help me with that? Let's just take a look at all the things people have been bringing in. My goodness. Go ahead. What do you see here? Some roses. Yeah, we see some roses here. And look at this beautiful iris and all the lilacs. Oh, intoxicating. Oh, yeah, so beautiful. Yeah, and these little baby roses and these beautiful yellow ones. I tried to bring a bunch of sunflowers, but I just couldn't find enough. Yeah. Yeah, we've got one sunflower here. That's actually the symbol of the Czech Unitarian Church, is the sunflower. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So anyhow, as everyone brought all their flowers on this day, the church was bursting with beautiful flowers, just like now. And each uniquely beautiful flower and scent was just making everyone happy. Is it making you happy? Of course, this was a church of about 3,000, just in case you're wondering. Yeah, it was a brand new church, though. They had only, so it probably wasn't 3,000 yet, but it grew very large. And this particular ceremony became very, very popular. And Norbert Chapek talked about it being helping us to connect with that hidden cry for harmony with the infinite. That hidden cry for harmony with the infinite that each person feels inside. So at the end of the service that day, they chose a flower to take home with those seeds of hope and harmony and fellowship that went with them. And they began to grow in their own hearts and in their spirits. So today we are planting, we are taking flowers, we are exchanging flowers, but we are planting hope and harmony and fellowship. So his flower celebration became very popular, and his wife, Maya, brought this celebration to the United States at the very beginning of World War II, when she escaped. And it spread quickly among Unitarian churches, and it became a part of our tradition too. Isn't that cool? So today we honor Norbert Fabian Chapek. Well, here's a picture of him, by the way. Nice looking fellow. Yeah. We honor his memory during our flower ceremony. He spoke out against the Nazis, and he was killed in a concentration camp. And as sad as that is, he would want us to remember the beauty of the flowers and the beauty of our flowering community, of which you and everyone here is a part. So let's honor him with our genuine love for each other and the joy that that brings. Thanks for helping me. And we're not going to sing them out because our children are staying with us. However, I think we have a nursery care person if anybody wants. So thanks for coming up here, helping me. She's going to be a worship associate one of these days. I'm already sure. So each week, you support the work of this congregation and all the ways that we live our values in the world through your own generosity. In addition to supporting this church, half of your donations support a local nonprofit organization, helping us to make a difference beyond our walls. So today our donations are also supporting Heart J Center for Experiential Learning for their outdoor experiences and hands-on classes at Sylvandale Guest Ranch. So please support them and give generously. And this week, we have some very special music. Woohoo! So glad. Herb is back. Herb Orrell has written a new song about Unitarian Universalism called Carry the Flame, arranged and accompanied by Ryan on the piano. Thanks.
Good morning. It's so good to see you, and even with all this rain, I'm starting to dry out just a little bit, and that feels good. I'd like to draw your attention to the flame behind me, and that is our chalice flame. For people like you and me, that's a sacred flame. It is a flame of community, a flame of justice, a flame that lights the path of peace. And our job in life is to take that flame with us into our workplace, into our neighborhoods, into our families. Our job is to carry the flame. Always lead with kindness. Listen to your soul. Love like there's no tomorrow. Let your sorrow go. Live into the mystery of things we can't explain. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means to carry the flame. A flame to light the darkness, a flame to light the way, a flame of inspiration that brings us here today to build beloved community these walls cannot contain. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means to carry the flame. We stand for peace and justice, worth and dignity. We're standing on the promises, truth can set us free. And when we stand together on the side of love, we are born again. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means. That's what it means to carry the flame. 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 Thank you.
Let's,
And please, for Ryan, would you give him some hands at any time?
yeah. Yeah. What a beautiful song. Thank you.
In honor of mothers, happy Mother's Day, everyone. And in honor of Flower Communion, and in honor of springtime, I wanted to do a couple of readings. The first one is from a book called Prayers for a Planetary Pilgrim by Edward Hayes. And I love getting this book out. It has a prayer for everything: washing the dishes, hanging laundry on the line. I mean, isn't that what life is really about? So Edward Hayes has a poem. I think he might have been a monk at one point. So the first one is a Psalm of Spring's Encore. Each day I take delight, O Creator, as did my great-grandparents, in enjoying the Garden of Eden called Earth, which each spring graciously grants an encore of your first act, creation. I stand and applaud with all Earth's audience and cry out with gratitude, again, again, please do it again. And you smile and return to center stage to repeat this song you sang so long ago. And blades of grass shoot up through crusted soil as seductive flowers sway in the breeze, and young green leaves belly dance on the tips of twigs, while soft gray clouds pour down liquid life to make all the earth come alive. Like the primal parents of paradise, part of me longs to stand naked once again, stripped of the symbols of society which so easily separate us all, from my flesh, which is dust, from my bone, which is stone, to once again walk in the cool of the garden, in naked innocence with you, my Creator. The second reading is called Blessing of the Flowers from Reverend Chapek from the First Flower Communion in 1923, which we've talked about already this morning. All human beings are created in the name of joy and happiness, but thousands of troubles surround us, tormenting us with sadness. If a person cannot see beauty in the world around them, then the troubles and sadness tie them down. The beauty of clouds floating in the sky, the beauty of the spring rain, the beauty of flowers, the beauty of friendship and love. May people see that beauty. May true humanity spread out in human hearts. May we all get our daily bread. May people forgive each other their trespasses and not bring each other into temptation through hatred. May peace spread out across all the earth. Amen.
Thank you, Linda. So I invite us now to just take in these words as we settle into a meditation. Nice big breath in. And let it go. How about another one? Nice big breath in. All through your body. And let it go. And now, like you're a flower pulling up from the roots of the ground, big breath in. Through the top of your head. And let it go. And as you settle into your own breath, we lift up the joys and sorrows in each person's life, honoring your own joys and your own sorrows that live within you, the worries that are on your mind, the concerns, the wondering, the regrets. Whatever is arising for you, we honor that as we breathe in and out. All that is within you is a part of our community. And as Chapek reminds us, even in the pain and suffering that each of us know on small levels and on massive worldwide levels, it is not the only part of the story. There is also accompanying us always, beauty and love, the love of life itself, the love of nature, and the love of our community. Whatever you are walking through, this is your companion always. On every battlefield, flowers still bloom. In the words of Chapek, he says, "Let us renew our resolution to be real brothers and sisters, regardless of any kind of a bar that estranges us from one another. And in this holy resolve, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are God's family, that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us. And may we endeavor for a more perfect and more enjoyable life. Endeavor for a more perfect and enjoyable life. We are here to enjoy life. May it be so. Amen." I invite you to join with us in singing another song by Chapek, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. Please rise as you wish. Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, the parenting qualities that reside within most of us to nurture, care, and guide each other. And a big shout out to all of our mothers on this beautiful Mother's Day, rainy as it may be. And a shout out to all of our mothers online, which may be my mother. I don't know if she's, maybe my daughter too. So that parenting quality that resides within most of us to care and nurture and guide one another. We experience that even if we're not parents, and we experience it from people who are not necessarily our parents. That compassion arises as a natural response to the needs of others. Chapek talks about when there's someone in hurting and in pain, we don't ask them what their politics are, right? So to share one's passion and to share one's knowledge and skills is another aspect of being a parent. This is the parenting, fathering spirit that Norbert Chapek speaks of, and it isn't limited to one's biological parents. So most parents I know work really hard to do their very best, as imperfect as it always is, and then they realize that they cannot raise their children on their own. And yet finding the right community to love and care for their children is increasingly difficult in the way our society has evolved. Anybody find that to be true? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. So a child needs the love of parents and the love of their community to amplify, enhance, and build on the love that is received from parents. So I wonder, do you remember a time in your life when you felt the most powerful love? The most powerful love. Not necessarily a romantic love, which is wonderful, but that's not quite what I mean, but a deep and powerful love of someone who cared deeply for you. Or just a love that you experienced in the world. Maybe you were receiving it, and maybe you were giving it. How did this love affect you? Are you a different person today in any way from this love? I was reminded last night at community night, which we had a great time and a fun jam session. That was great. Those of you that were here, thank you. I was reminded of a love like this that I experienced back in junior high. Yeah, we didn't call it middle school back in those days. It was junior high. I think maybe 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, somewhere in there. And my favorite place in the entire building was the music room. Yep, the band director and the choir director felt like they were my buddies. You know, they were the adults, but they were my buddies. And my favorite teachers. Well, my dad was a favorite teacher too, but he was over in the science department. And you know, that time in your life, you have to self-differentiate, right? So each day after school, I would go hang out in the music room, waiting for my dad before he could take me home. And Mr. Smith, my choir teacher, and we would sit at the piano and we would just improvise. We would just make stuff up all the time. It was like that was our conversation. Sometimes we would take turns and I would improvise, and sometimes he would improvise, or we'd play songs that we'd written for each other. And sometimes others would come in and listen and maybe play along, but not too much. But the music we played, it was a whole nother language that we could speak with one another. It was the place I felt most at home and most loved and understood. My parents were loving, and they were both musicians too, but this was an experience that had to come outside of my parents. And one time, our junior high show choir, we were a close-knit group of friends because we all hung out in the band room all the time. And one day, Mr. Smith taught us a piece of music called Love One Another. And it became all of our favorite. It was our favorite song. It had kind of a pop feel to it, but it was deeply meaningful. And of course, we added choreography because that's what a show choir does. And it became our closer and everyone loved it, and we always got standing ovations when we performed that song because we felt it so deeply. It was so heartfelt when we performed it. And one day, as we were singing this song, I began to cry just from the sheer beauty of it and the beauty that it invoked in each and every one of us, in how we connected with life, with just life itself. The thought that life could be lived from love, truly, that struck me so deeply that I kept crying long after the song was over. In fact, I cried for 3 days. My best friends were arguing over who upset me. You know how it is in middle school, junior high. But they didn't understand. I was not sad. I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad. Nothing was wrong. I was experiencing the fundamental, foundational love and beauty of life. Looking back on it, it was one of the most spiritual experiences of my life, but I didn't frame it that way back in those days. And it created within me a new ideal that I have always felt dedicated to bringing into reality ever since. And it is what I think Norbert Chapek is talking about when he talks about the hidden cry for harmony with the infinite that resides within every soul. Quoting from his biography by Richard Henry, "Every person," he wrote, "is an embodiment of God. In every one of us, God struggles for higher expression." Now, I know the word God gets in some of our way. It trips us up because a lot of us are atheists. So how to deal with this word God in this moment? He is talking about community and about connecting with each other. Does that help? So his framing around that word God is really about that deep human spirit that we would refer to from a humanist perspective. So just a little interpretation moment that might be helpful. So he goes on to say that religion should, before all else, provide that inner harmony, which is the precondition of a strong character, good health, joyful moods, and victorious and creative life. Inner harmony. That's something I long for. Is that something you long for? Can you feel inner harmony? It might feel like dissonance right now, but dissonance can resolve into harmony. He goes on to say, "It is my ideal that Unitarian religion in our country should mean a higher culture, new attitudes towards life, and practically a new race." He's writing in 1920s. In short, Unitarian religion should mean the next advanced culture level of a certain people. How about all people? The church's task, he felt, must be to place truth above any tradition, spirit above any scripture, freedom above authority, and progress above all reaction. Chapek's theology was labeled dangerous by the Gestapo and the Nazis. I have to say, if this theology is a threat to fascism, then bring it on. I just want to say again, the church's task must be to place truth above tradition, spirit above scripture, freedom above authority, and progress above all reaction. And he's saying this in pre-World War II as World War II was beginning to ramp up, and the first place that was invaded, as you might recall, was Czechoslovakia. Čapek's theology was based on the truths that one experiences in nature, especially the power of love and beauty, the way nature nurtures us like a parent. Again, quoting, surviving fellow prisoners, quoting from the book by Henry, surviving fellow prisoners tell in glowing words of the magnificence of his witness to the truths that he proclaimed in the concentration camp, Dachau. By what he said and by what he fortified and uplifted those among with whom he dwelt. As one Catholic priest who was with him bore witness, he achieved his greatest ministry there among the despairing who lived in the very shadow of death. For without him, we could not have endured. And he was put to death early in November of 1942. But Čapek reminds us this should not be a memorial service for Čapek. He reminds us in his theology that a flower is divine and that divinity is within each and every one of us, just like it is in a flower. We call it beauty. You cannot create it, whatever effort you make. You can only create a dead forgery without fragrance and life and nothing more. Each of us is a symbol of a flower. Flowers together in a vase symbolize our fellowship, our commonality, and the way that we brought and carried away, that we will carry away our flowers, symbolizes volunteering and freedom. Freedom to be who we are and freedom to come together however we choose, and freedom to be friends with whoever we choose. So when we leave this gathering in peace and without rushing, as you leave with one of your flowers, we strive to create an atmosphere that holds this community. And when you carry your flower home, remember what it symbolizes. It symbolizes you and another person from whom the flower came. So I consecrate, this is not something we typically do, I consecrate these flowers in the words of Čapek that he used on that first flower communion in 1923. He says, "Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and of love. They remind us of the value of friendship as one of our most precious gifts. May they not let awareness of another's talent discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world." So what I would like to invite us to do is to, for this half of the room, we can line up here, and this half of the room will line up here. And now, instead of just coming up and taking your favorite flower, which would be delightful to do, but Peter Samoyski, who's a dear friend of mine, he is the minister in Prague, and he reminded me that it is more symbolic for us to give you any of the flowers. I know, because you do not get to choose who you come to church with. In fact, he told me he likes to put stinging nettle. he's a bit of a rascal, I must say. But he likes to put stinging nettle in there just for fun, because you never know when you're going to have someone who's a stinging nettle in your congregation. 'Tis true. So we welcome everyone and all. And so I'm going to invite, actually, any of our kids, do you want to come help hand out flowers? Come on. Any of our other kids want to help hand out flowers? Oh, good idea. Thank you. You know what? I'm spacing on your first name. Tell me again. Avery. I knew that. This is Avery, my friends. Yeah. So Avery's going to help us hand out flowers. Do you want to be over here? And when people come to you, you just choose a flower to give to them, okay, sweetie? And Linda, do you want to help? And Janet, do you want to help hand out flowers? Okay. So I invite you now to please come forward and to receive the symbol of this community to take home, reminding you of the beauty and the love that we have together. Can we just hand you a flower?
Oh, this is so nice.
Make sure you don't get your own flower.
Did just
Hi, how are you doing? Good. Oh, good. Glad you're here. Hey, Scott, how you doing? Good to see you. Hi, good morning. How are you doing? Good. Glad you're here. Good morning. Glad you're here. Good morning. Beautiful service. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you again for all you do. Unfortunately, my wife is working today.
Oh, I wonder.
She works in the park sometimes, Phil's
Nice. Good morning. Glad you're here.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Alan. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Stana, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Hi, good to see you
George
again.
Waldron.
Nice to see you, George.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And I'll talk with you after. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Good morning.
This
Let's give one to, yeah. I was gonna say, give some to Ryan. Oh, yeah. Hope we get another one. Oh, beautiful. What? Yeah, you can if you want. Thank you for your help, Avery. Tickle, tickle, tickle. I love it. As you contemplate your flower, here's some other words by Chapek to consecrate your flower or to bless it. In the name of what is holy, in the name of what is good, in the name of that which gives life, we have gathered here in this place today. We have been given life to live under the aspect of eternity, for that is the source of happiness. To work on ourselves and bring happiness into our lives, to be as valid as possible to others with whom we are connected by invisible relationships. You, the flowers, remind us of the wonderful simplicity of the natural order and that we are too a part of it. You remind us of the beauty and harmony of diversity. Diversity? You remind us that one can feel and perceive and live in unity and in diversity, diversity in unity. Let the spirit of creative life unite us as it is within us. May it be so. And let us sing together, for the earth forever turning. Let's stand, shall we? If you feel like standing, let's do. For the earth forever turning, for the skies, for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the mountains, hills, and pastures in their silent majesty, for the stars, for all the heavens, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the sun, the rain, and thunder, for the seasons' harmony, for our lives, for all creation, sing we our joyful praise to thee. For the world we raise our voices, for the home that gives us birth. In our joy we sing, returning home to our blue-green hills of earth.
May the flower you have been given remind you of the blessings you receive from those gathered here.
May it remind you of the beauty of the earth, of the natural world, and all the gifts that our human, animal, and plant companions share with us.
May it remind you of the artwork that we created here together, and the art we create here together week after week, the art of creating community. So go in peace, my friends, and carry this beauty into the world. May it be so. Amen. Let's go.